This marks the third part of this manhwa. If you haven't viewed the previous parts, you can access it by clicking the I button located above, or the link is provided in description. Let's aim for 200 likes on today's video. To show your support, consider subscribing to the channel. Let's begin our recap video for today's manhwa. Canis commanded his soldiers to prepare the catapults, and they began loading them with rocks. While they were doing this, enemy mages launched a magic attack, destroying one of the catapults. In response, Canis ordered the soldiers to fire the remaining catapults at maximum range, aiming for the mages. The soldiers obeyed and launched the rocks. As the rocks flew through the air, Canis remarked, "Now this is what you call watch your head." Noticing that the rocks were about to fall short of their target, Canis cast a spell called Feather on the rocks, accelerating their speed and guiding them directly toward the enemy mages. A spy mage from the Emperor, witnessing Canis's spell, was surprised and thought, "Flight magic." When the rocks approached, Counts, shocked by the unexpected range, quickly ordered the mages to block the incoming projectiles. The mages responded by launching magic attacks to break the rocks. However, Canis cast protection magic on the rocks, shielding them from the mages' spells. As the magical attacks hit the rocks, smoke formed, but the rocks emerged unscathed and continued their descent. The mages attempted to dodge, but some were struck by the rocks. Witnessing the aftermath, Count Alman, confused, asked, "What's happening?" An injured mage on the ground pointed towards the sky in response. Both counts quickly turned to the sky, and Count Grey exclaimed, "They're coming again." To think that Eren also had a mage. Just then, another attack struck the area where the mages were stationed. Count Grey, flustered by the situation, realized that Duke Eren had been hiding his last trump card and thought to himself, "It's come to this an all-out war." Fueled by anger, he turned to the archers and commanded, "Stop getting hit and charge to the battlefront. Engage in hand-to-hand combat." The archers, hearing the order, rushed to the front lines. Then, Count Grey turned to the mages and ordered, "Destroy the catapults. Keep the main camp safe." The leader of the mages, under pressure, expressed that they couldn't proceed without first destroying the catapults. Count Grey, frustrated, urged them to act immediately. The mage leader ordered the mages to target the boulders and defend the camp. The mages responded by using a water ball spell to block the rocks and telekinesis to throw them aside. Observing this, Canis thought the mages were using trivial tactics and smirked, suggesting a more formidable challenge. He then instructed the elves to prepare their fire arrows and shoot them as far as possible. The elves readied their bows and fire arrows, preparing to launch them. Canis ordered the elves to shoot their fire arrows, and they launched them into the air. As the arrows descended, Canis used flight magic to guide them towards the enemy camp. The mages, seeing the incoming arrows, quickly deployed a water ball spell for defense. However, the arrows maintained their speed and trajectory, soaring above the water ball, which puzzled both counts and the mage leader. In a surprising move, Canis then cast gravity reversal, causing the arrows to drop directly onto the mages. This unexpected shift led to the mages' deaths and resulted in the complete destruction of the count's mage forces. Eren, disguised as an enemy soldier, observed the battlefield and thought about how he had instructed to prevent magic use, yet the enemy mages were wiped out. He noted the impressive range of the reformed arrows and considered joining the fight himself. Meanwhile, Rommel's unit was encircled by enemies. Seeing a dust cloud signaling incoming reinforcements, Rommel grew anxious. During this moment, he narrowly avoided a spear attack by ducking. Determined to hold on until reinforcements arrived, Rommel fought fiercely against the advancing enemies and urged his unit to persevere, shouting, "Our allies are on their way. Let's endure till the end." Hearing the news boosted the morale of his unit, leading them to prepare for battle against the enemy. Meanwhile, Bianca saw that the cavalry captain was in danger. She instructed the cavalry squad to deal with the enemy cavalry and directed the members of the Crusader Order to follow her. She then moved towards Rommel to provide him with assistance. Overall, the battlefield situation was as follows. The Count's alliance mid-unit had been completely destroyed. They had 470 archers, 750 infantry, and their cavalry was trapped. Duke Aaron's forces consisted of 20 Crusader Order members heading to help Rommel, 80 cavalrymen managing the trapped enemy cavalry, 600 infantry attacking the enemy infantry, and 200 archers stationed at the main camp. As Bianca's Crusader Order unit arrived behind the enemy infantry, a soldier from the enemy side shouted a warning about the approaching forces. Before the enemy could react, Bianca's unit launched a surprise attack. Bianca instructed her knights to destroy them and save the knights' captain. Her forces began pushing through the enemy infantry. In response, an infantry captain from the Count's alliance ordered his soldiers to block the rear and prevent Bianca's unit from advancing further, instructing them to block the back. The enemy soldiers quickly turned around and began attacking Bianca, who struggled to block their blows with her shield. The force of the attacks pushed her backward. Realizing their response was swift, Bianca prayed to Goddess Vivian, asking for divine assistance. A golden light enveloped her, blinding the enemy soldiers. Seizing their opportunity, Bianca ordered her knights to charge. Observing this, Aaron thought to himself that Bianca's actions were impressive and would buy them some time. Aaron's thoughts were interrupted by an infantry captain who commanded his troops, "Open your eyes, and I will kill those who retreat." Recognizing the captain, Aaron took note of him. Meanwhile, the captain continued to issue orders, urging his troops not to retreat and to push forward, referring to the enemies as poisoned rats. At that moment, the captain was struck and fatally injured by a dagger from behind. The captain, trembling in pain, turns around to see his attacker and finds Aaron standing there. Aaron declares, "He is the rat that came here to kill him." With that, the captain collapses and dies. Aaron then surveys the area and spots two more captains. Determined to save Rommel, he decides to eliminate the enemy's key leaders. Moving swiftly and unseen, Aaron kills the Count's alliance infantry commanders and another captain. Both fall to the ground simultaneously, causing the soldiers to stare in shock. At that moment, Aaron shouts, "The commander has fallen, all troops, retreat." The enemy soldiers become anxious and confused, questioning how the situation unfolded with their commander's fall. The commander of the archers realizes the commander has been defeated and issues an urgent command. He instructs the remaining troops to stay focused and not be misled by what he perceives as enemy sabotage. Aaron, noticing the confusion and realizing he missed one of the commanders, becomes flustered. The archer commander orders no retreat and commands a charge against the enemy forces that they have surrounded. Following the archer commander's orders, the enemy soldiers charge forward and successfully defeat all of Rommel's knights. Rommel, witnessing the outcome of the battle, reacts with intense anger. Roaring in frustration, Aaron, sensing the escalating situation and feeling nervous, starts sweating. He resolves to take immediate action, thinking he needs to act quickly. Aaron rushes towards the commander, preparing to attack him from behind. He is determined to eliminate the last remaining commander and mentally prepares for the kill. As Aaron is about to strike, his attack is unexpectedly blocked by the commander's soldiers. The commander reveals that the situation was a trap set specifically for Aaron, indicating he had planned this contingency in advance. Contrary to what the commander anticipated, Aaron begins to laugh. This reaction surprises the commander, hinting at a twist or a deeper strategy on Aaron's part. Aaron, questioning the need to plan ahead, swiftly retracts his dagger, using it to eliminate the soldiers blocking his path to the commander. As the commander realizes he is about to be defeated, he issues a desperate final command to his troops to charge and kill his allies. Despite the commander's order, Aaron beheads him, ensuring his death. After dispatching the commander, Aaron calls out Rommel's name with evident worry, suggesting he is concerned about Rommel's safety or involvement in the unfolding events. Rommel, exhausted, is under threat from enemy soldiers poised to kill him with spear attacks. Just in time, Bianca's unit arrives and intervenes, saving Rommel from imminent death. Erin's infantry arrives on the scene. Their commander seizes the opportunity created by the enemy's loss of their commander, instructing his troops to kill all remaining enemy soldiers. The enemy soldiers, now leaderless and in disarray, are easily defeated by Erin's infantry. The battle ends with Duke Erin's camp achieving a decisive victory. The numbers are 1,000 soldiers from Erin's camp versus 2,000 from the Count's alliance, marking a complete victory for Duke Erin. Erin advances towards the main camp of the Counts, which is now surrounded by his forces. He observes the anxious expressions on the faces of both Counts. Erin comments on the nervousness of the Counts, taunting them by recalling his earlier warning about being cautious. Count Alman, bewildered by Erin's ability to maneuver through the chaos of arrows and boulders, tries to draw his sword. He demands to know what kind of sorcery Erin is using. Before Count Alman can act further, Erin's knights quickly position their swords at Alman's neck, instilling fear and causing him to tremble. Erin, drawing his sword, confronts Count Alman, indignantly rejecting the suggestion that his success is due to sorcery. He accuses Alman, a mere count's vassal, of insulting him and declares his intention to kill Alman to restore the proper hierarchical order of the territory. As Erin attempts to strike Count Alman, a mage sent by the Emperor intervenes, grabbing Erin's hand and urging him to reconsider. The mage questions the value of killing a vassal, suggesting it may not be beneficial. Erin, furious, demands the mage release him, emphasizing that being insulted as a member of the royal family is equivalent to insulting the emperor himself. In response to the threat, Count Alman kneels before Erin and pleads for his life, admitting his wrongdoing and begging for mercy. Erin turns to Count Grey and asks for his response. Count Grey, recognizing his defeat, also kneels and submits. Erin declares that, as per Grey's submission, both of their cities will now become part of his duchy, the Erin Duchy. Both counts accept Erin's terms, saying, "Do as you wish." Erin announces that the takeover process will begin that night. He warns the counts that if they misuse their citizens for personal gain, he will revoke their titles. Both counts agree to Erin's conditions, acknowledging him as the Duke. The following afternoon, the scene shifts to a meeting room. Kane presents the betting certificates from Jarvan Betting Castle, revealing a certificate for 3 million gold and an additional one for a 2 million gold loan. He notes that with a dividend rate of about 10 times, they have earned at least 50 million gold from the war. Kane is ecstatic, laughing and running around with excitement. Kane exclaims that this newfound wealth will allow them to repay their debts and enhance the prosperity of their castle. Erin interrupts Kane, instructing him that the money should be used for investment purposes rather than personal gains. Kane is taken aback and angry, questioning Erin's decision. He struggles to believe that Erin is suggesting using the money for investment rather than immediate financial relief and improvement. Erin explains that while the funds from the war are significant, the primary objective was to gain manpower and expand their territory. With the acquisition of 2 cities from each of the defeated territories and an additional city from clearing the orcs and the Black Forest, their territory, Brahn, has effectively doubled in size. Erin emphasizes the importance of using the funds to stabilize and secure the newly acquired territories first. He plans to use the money for this purpose before gradually pursuing further expansion. Erin declares his intention to become known as the loser of the North, a statement that shocks everyone present at the meeting. Cheryl reacts with concern, questioning Erin's declaration. She fears that branding themselves as the loser of the North would expose their power and potentially make them a target. Erin elaborates on his reasoning behind his plan. He explains that, following the war, both the Emperor and the feudal lords loyal to him will closely monitor their actions. Erin argues that if they attempt to conceal their power, the Emperor might destroy them before they can fully strengthen themselves. Aaron proposes a strategy of outwardly appearing loyal to the Emperor and his followers, giving them what they want as a form of tactical submission. This approach, he believes, will buy them time to build strength. However, Aaron vows that once they are ready, they will decisively outmaneuver their adversaries, taking everything and leaving only the bare essentials. At this critical moment, Max bursts into the room, announcing the arrival of the owner of the Moria trade group. Aaron concludes the meeting, instructing everyone except Kane to continue with their duties. Grim Moria enters the meeting room and presents a certificate, demanding repayment of 5 million gold, as stipulated by the terms of their contract due to Aaron's victory in the war. Aaron turns to Kane and asks if they have the funds available for repayment. Kane reveals that they are currently so financially strained that they do not even have enough money for basic necessities, let alone the 5 million gold required. Grim Moria insists on the repayment, emphasizing the contractual obligation of the Aaron Duchy to pay the specified amount. Kane approaches Grim Moria and examines the contract. He points out a clause in the contract that specifies the repayment will be interest-free indefinitely. Grim Moria is taken aback and confused by this clause. He questions the validity of the claim. Kane aggressively accuses Grim Moria of threatening Aaron, citing the contract's terms. He emphasizes that the contract specifies no interest and questions Grim Moria's attempt to demand repayment. Kane turns to Aaron and asks how he dealt with such matters when he was in the capital, suggesting that Aaron should address the situation similarly. Aaron brandishes his sword, pointing it at Grim Moria's neck. He suggests that, under normal circumstances, Grim Moria would face death for his sin of misspeaking. However, he offers an alternative way for Grim Moria to save himself. Grim Moria, confused and apprehensive, asks about this alternative way. Aaron drives his sword into the table in front of Grim Moria, demanding that Grim Moria swear an oath. He refers to Grim Moria as Blood Coin and instructs him to swear upon the sword. Grim Moria asks for clarification, indicating his concern and confusion over the oath he's being asked to take. Aaron demands that Grim Moria swear to become one of his retainers and dedicate his life to the Brand territory, effectively binding him to Aaron's service and loyalty. A boat carrying a letter arrives at the location of Crown Prince Philip on the Western continent. Philip empties the letter and reads it, discovering that Aaron has won the territory war. As Philip reads the letter, 3 soldiers attempt to attack him. Philip swiftly turns and dispatches them with a single thrust of his sword. After dealing with the attackers, Philip places the flag of the Empire. He reflects on the situation, thinking about returning to the Empire and anticipating that future events will become increasingly interesting. Emperor Zerone confronts Crown Prince Philip in the meeting room, questioning his decision to return from his task of conquering the Western continent upon learning of Aaron's victory. The Emperor is perplexed by Philip's apparent concern over Aaron, a distant royal family member. During the conversation, Emperor Zerone is playing a game of chess and removes one of Philip's pieces, tossing it to him. He emphasizes his point by noting Philip's strong reaction to Aaron's success. Philip, while picking up and breaking the chess piece with his magic power, downplays the significance of Aaron's victory. He claims to be merely slightly interested, though his internal thoughts reveal a deeper personal interest, particularly in relation to the throne he is destined to ascend. Philip reflects privately on his ambition and how Aaron's success might impact his own future and prospects for the throne. Aaron is rapidly reviewing and authorizing a large volume of documents, demonstrating his efficiency and thoroughness in handling administrative duties. Canis, observing Aaron, notes how skilled and efficient he has become, likening his expertise to that of a seasoned butler who has managed documents for a long time. While working, Aaron reflects on his current speed compared to his past life as a butler. He considers that he used to handle documents even faster back then and contemplates how much more he could have managed previously. Rommel bursts into the room, shouting "My lord," and disturbing Aaron's concentration. Aaron, taken aback by Rommel's forceful entry, angrily reminds him to knock before entering. Rommel informs Eren about protests occurring in the territories of Count Grey and Count Alman. Eren speculates that the protests are not genuinely initiated by the citizens, but are likely orchestrated by the counts themselves. He smiles, suggesting that he will take action to meet their expectations. A knight storms into Count Alman's room, holding an important document. Count Alman, currently in the middle of a meal, questions the urgency of the knight's intrusion. The knight reveals that the document is a declaration of war, indicating a significant and immediate escalation in the conflict. Count Alman, astonished by the knight's announcement of a declaration of war, reacts angrily and incredulously, questioning the validity of the declaration. In the meeting room, Cain is surprised and asks Eren for the reason behind the declaration of war. Eren explains that the declaration is based on charges of treason. He accuses Count Alman of orchestrating a protest by disguising his soldiers as civilians and breaking his oath by not surrendering his territory after losing the battle. Rommel expresses concern that the declaration of war might be premature and reckless, given that the Count's regular forces are significantly larger than Eren's. Eren admits that the declaration was indeed reckless, showing an awareness of the risks involved in his decision. Cheryl asks Eren why he declared war despite the risks. Eren explains that the declaration aligns with what the Emperor would expect and is grounded in truth. This revelation shocks everyone present. Cheryl is stunned and questions if Eren has already received the Emperor's approval for the territory transfer. Eren confirms that he did receive the Emperor's approval, noting that the Emperor believed he was simply reveling in his victory. Canis praises Eren's forward-thinking strategy and offers to provide a battle strategy. Eren declines Canis's offer, suggesting that he has other plans. Canis is surprised and asks Eren why he declined his offer to provide a battle strategy if it's not needed. Eren explains that Canis, as the strategist, is busy with managing the newly acquired territories. He indicates that since the upcoming battle will occur at night and the Emperor will not be monitoring it, he will handle the battle personally. He suggests that Canis should consider this as an opportunity for a break. Eren and his forces approach Count Alman's castle as night falls. They wait until it is dark before proceeding. As night arrives, Eren and his knights, organized in formation, move toward Count Alman's castle, positioning themselves in preparation for the assault. From the castle walls, Count Alman observes Eren's forces. He notes the lack of siege weapons and concludes that Eren's troops, being leftovers, will not be able to breach the castle walls. Alman believes that if he can withstand the siege, victory will eventually be his. Alman publicly questions Eren's motives, accusing him of declaring war out of greed for territorial expansion. He challenges Eren's actions as unjust. Eren responds by accusing Count Alman of treason, citing evidence of Alman's involvement in protests and betrayal. Despite this, Eren offers Alman a chance to avoid further bloodshed. He proposes that if Alman surrenders and opens the gates, he will spare his life. Count Alman becomes anxious upon hearing Eren's offer and realizes that Eren must have evidence of his treason. Despite his growing concern, Alman remains defiant, believing he can win the battle eventually. He challenges Eren, daring him to break into the castle if he's confident. Eren responds with anger, condemning Alman for his arrogance and promising that the battle will be severe for his transgressions. He then calls for his sister, Cheryl. Cheryl, standing beside Eren, is asked to assist. She casts the spell Flame Shower to attack the castle. However, the castle's defenses are effective, as the attack is blocked by a magical shield surrounding the castle. Count Alman mocks the Cheryl, confidently stating that the magic shields created by the Ivory Tower wizards are too strong to be penetrated by what he deems low-level magic. Cheryl, infuriated by Alman's insult, retorts angrily, calling him a bald head in frustration. Cheryl, determined to prove Alman wrong, casts another spell by swinging her wand through the air and striking the ground. Cheryl's spell conjures a powerful wave of water that crashes against the castle, but it is once again deflected by the castle's protective magic shield. Count Alman, witnessing this, laughs and questions the nature of the magic involved, making a remark about the need to quench thirst before beginning. Cheryl responds to Count Alman by summoning a multiple number of massive worms from the ground. These worms begin to assault the castle. The worms' attack causes significant damage to the castle, leading to the collapse of the castle walls. As the walls begin to fall, Count Alman narrowly escapes by jumping away from the collapsing gate wall. Count Alman, stunned by the destruction, expresses his disbelief and confusion about the situation. Eren seizes the opportunity presented by the fallen wall and commands his knights to advance and capture Count Alman. The cavalry, having received the order, advances with the goal of capturing Count Alman. From his position on the wall, Count Alman commands the archers to shoot arrows to prevent the enemy from advancing. The archers' arrows strike the leading cavalry knights, causing them to fall. Observing the success of the archers' attack, Count Alman laughs and instructs them to keep shooting. Rommel, noting the progress of their assault, urges his fellow knights to charge into the castle. During the chaos, one of Count Alman's archers becomes anxious and ceases firing, trembling in fear. Count Alman, infuriated by the archer's hesitation, approaches him and delivers a forceful kick to his stomach, sending him crashing to the ground. Count Alman, enraged, yells at the archer, demanding an explanation for why he ceased firing despite explicit instructions. The other archers are startled by the outburst. Count Alman warns them harshly, threatening to kill them himself if they display similar incompetence. Eren, observing Count Alman's behavior, decides to intervene, thinking of the future loyalty of the soldiers. As he moves to act, Cheryl halts him, leaving Eren puzzled. Cheryl informs Eren that their agreement covered only the flame shower, and that an extra 100,000 gold is required for the use of the mud worms. Eren protests, arguing that Cheryl's use of the mud worms was a personal decision made out of anger, and should not be subject to additional payment. While Eren is speaking with Cheryl, he detects an arrow aimed at him and catches it effortlessly. Observing the archers, Eren comments on their audacity or recklessness. Eren agrees to the additional payment for the mud worms, instructing Cheryl to record the amount in the ledger. After agreeing to the payment, Eren begins to sprint towards the wall. Count Alman commands the archers to shoot at Eren, believing that capturing him will ensure their victory. The archers are astonished as Eren deftly evades their arrows, using his speed to continue his approach towards the wall. Eren reflects internally, recognizing the need to swiftly capture Count Alman to reduce casualties on both sides and conclude the conflict. Eren used the wall to propel himself onto the top of the castle wall where Count Alman and the archers are positioned, surprising everyone. Eren attempts to strike Count Alman, but Alman manages to evade the attack. Noting Eren's furious expression, Count Alman becomes visibly nervous and instructs the archers to engage Eren. The archers charge at Eren to impede him, but Eren swiftly defeats them with ease. Observing the chaos, Count Alman flees the scene, eliminating his own archers who obstruct his escape. Eren, infuriated by Count Alman's disregard for his own men, reflects on Alman's inability to safeguard his troops and his callous attitude towards their lives. Count Alman forces his way toward the stairs, eliminating anyone who obstructs him, while reflecting on Eren's unexpected strength. Eren unexpectedly appears in front of Alman, blocking his access to the stairs. Eren offers Alman a chance to surrender, promising that his family and soldiers will be spared if he complies. Alman inquires about his own fate under Eren's terms. Eren coldly informs Alman that he will be killed regardless of his surrender. Alman, searching for an escape route, finds that his own soldiers are obstructing his way. Alman attempts to clear a path by attacking his own soldiers, but one soldier retaliates by using a spear to injure Alman's sword hand. This injury causes Alman to drop his sword and collapse in pain. Count Alman's soldiers urge him to surrender. Alman, frustrated and realizing escape is impossible, appeals to Eren for mercy, offering to become his vassal and pledge loyalty. Before Alman can finish his plea, Eren executes him, stating he has no use for a vassal who disregards his own people. Eren declares Alman's death and announces victory, signaling the end of the battle. Eren claims all of Alman's lands, except for a small fortress, as part of his domain, Bran. Count Grey, upon learning of Alman's death, decides to surrender and cede half of his estates to Eren to ensure his own safety. With the Duchy of Bran restored, Eren begins strategizing to expand his territory and consolidate power, aiming to become the dominant ruler in the north and prepare for a significant future conflict with the Emperor. This marks the conclusion of the third part of this manhwa. The fourth part will be uploaded soon, so remember to like and subscribe to the channel for future update. Leave comments to share your experience. Looking forward to seeing you in the next video.